all wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of Talmbout Rasslin right here on the Black Phoenix Network. I'm your host, the untouchable J.R. Atkins, and this is your primary destination for wrestling conversation. And ladies and gentlemen, it is day 2 of the Wrestlemania extravaganza podcast bonanza thing. It's day 2 of Talmbout Rasslin podcast Wrestlemania weekend show. Again, like I mentioned yesterday, in the new tradition of WWE WrestleManias, we are now doing 2 days for WrestleMania. It's the first time I've ever done a WrestleMania show, so I figured, why not do 2-day WrestleManias in the form of the 2-day podcast in the form of the 2-night WrestleMania show. Now, other people have done similar things when they do recap shows. I'm not doing recap shows. These are just completely separate shows. Yesterday's show covered more of the AEW stuff with AEW Dynasty, Dynamite, Collision, all the stuff with the world title and everything in between. Today, though, because tonight is actually WrestleMania, right? So today, we are actually covering the show of shows. A lot of things to cover because a lot has happened. It's WrestleMania week. There's a lot of news. There's a lot of things happening in the media because they're trying to make all these media appearances. I do have to keep it brief because I have somewhere I need to be, but I'm going to give you the show because that's what you're here for. But I also know what else you're here for. See the segue? I also know what else you're here for, and I'm going to give it to you. We're going to start off with the shirt of the day. Keeping it light. Boom, look at that. Anything on the back? Nothing on the back. Little Nola. Definitely feels very appropriate considering that's where WrestleMania was supposed to be. And it was supposed to be last weekend. That's neither here nor there. This is actually from is it the last Mania that I went to? I've been to 3. Yesterday I wore something from the second one, which was 32. 32. And then I have today, which is 34. I do have gear for 40 because I did go to Philly, but I did not go to Mania. That'll actually be tomorrow's shirt, but you won't see that unless you see me tomorrow. And I'll talk about that a little later. So, shirt of the day, WrestleMania 34. Of course, it's supposed to be in New Orleans. 34 was a very interesting show, and not necessarily for any particularly good reasons, but whatever. As always, thank you for tuning in. Especially thank you for tuning in for day 2 of the 2-day, the first ever 2-day Talmbout Rasslin WrestleMania weekend podcast bonanza. That's what we're gonna probably call this, and that's long, but it's cool. So thank you for tuning in. You could have been anywhere in the world. Plenty of content that you could be tuned into, but if you're tuned in here, thank you so much because this is my first WrestleMania that I'm covering on the pod. Crazy, right? So I'm going to run through the card. I'm going to cover a little bit of the news that's going on, give my thoughts, opinions, and then I'm going to give kind of breakdowns of the matches and who I think is going to win, my predictions, of course. And then I'm going to get out of here because I got a very busy day. And then next week, when I come back, we will talk Mania. I don't know if I can wait that long. When I come back next week, we'll talk Mania. We'll see how everything went. I may do it, we'll see how it goes. Don't hold me to anything. But all that being said, let's get into it, baby. First again, you're here. If you're new here, if you tuned in yesterday, if you follow me on Threads, if you actually saw me out, thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you like this. Make sure you share with any other wrestling fans that you know, and make sure that you go subscribe. I need all the subscriptions I can get. These numbers need to go up, man. I gotta get these numbers up. I want to get these views and I want to get these subscribers, okay? Because I want to bring you my wrestling knowledge and my wrestling thoughts and beliefs, and the wrestling community at large needs me. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I need them. That's neither here nor there. Nonetheless, we're going to continue. So again, if you're here, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here every week. If you're here every week, and if you're new here, hopefully you decide to stick around. So hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you come back. Now, let's get into it because I'm not going to rush it, but we got to move through it. So let's get into a little bit of the news of the week. So of course, this has been, like I said, very newsworthy. Everybody's out doing media. One of the biggest stories, at least from my side of the community, if you will, has been the altercation between Jey Uso and Cameron on the, what is the name of that podcast? Because I keep wanting to say it's like It Is What It Is, but it's not. Whatever the name, whatever the podcast that Mason and Cameron do together. Jey Uso was on there, and Cameron's being very kind of disrespectful, referring to Jey Uso as a Saturday WrestleMania guy, when everybody knows the Sunday WrestleMania guy is the one that matters. Which, not saying that's the case, because night one has actually typically been better than night two most of the times they've done this, but because they haven't had one where like both nights were bangers completely through and through yet. But it's neither here nor there. Jey Uso takes offense, puts hands on Cameron. They say throws a punch. Then he goes on and does some other podcasts throughout the rest of the day. So if that doesn't tell you what's going to happen, then, whatever. Cameron has vowed that Jey Uso is going to have to see him in Vegas. So look for Cameron to interfere or at least show up at WrestleMania tonight. Take that for it. That's my first prediction. And I don't even think it's a prediction. I think he pretty much could have called it from the jump. You know this, because if the man, that would have been. I mean, Cam ain't no snitch or nothing crazy like that, but it was on camera. So if it wasn't to work, Jay probably would have got arrested. Let's just call a spade a spade. Or at least something. So we'll see how that turns out tonight. Nonetheless, speaking of who's going to be appearing in Vegas, another thing, I guess, that I don't even know if it's an elephant in the room, but I guess it's a thing that we do have to kind of address. Maybe. I'd rather not. But I also think that it's best to just kind of be prepared. Word is that a certain person who lives in, what's it, 3600 Pennsylvania Avenue? What's the damn address? I should know this. I feel bad. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I was close. A certain person who lives in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, but spends most of his time in Florida, is, I think they said he arrived in Vegas yesterday, maybe the day before. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, arrived in Vegas. No, he arrived in Vegas Thursday. And the alerts went up like, hey, what are the odds that he shows up at WrestleMania? And given what this company is about these days and the way they lean and the fact that somebody very close to the family that at least brought this company to prominence is actually a member of the cabinet, it's a very good chance that said resident of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue will probably be at Mania, and that they will probably show him on camera, because there's nothing that dude loves more than being on camera. And I hope that the boos are so epic that they scrub the entire thing from any future showings. I hope it's that bad. Because see, remember Hogan on the Netflix debut, the last appearance of Hulk Hogan on WWE TV, and they booed him out of the building? That's what I want, but tenfold. I want Vegas to boo him completely out of the country if possible, but definitely out of any further appearance. Don't show him. Don't ever show him again. Don't show him. If you show him tonight, don't show him on night two. I don't want to. And if he's there, boo him both times. Boo him both times. Absolutely. Boo him both times. Do it. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we don't even have to deal with that. So that's the thing. In other news, uh, it was announced that I guess it was eventual that it was inevitable that it was going to happen. Um, that Paige has re-signed, and it's definitely Paige. It's not Soraya. Soraya. Paige has re-signed with WWE, and will be making an in-ring return as well. Um, can't say that I'm shocked and surprised there. In AEW, she did have a good run. I did really enjoy her, at least her theme music. Um, and again, had a nice run. Didn't do a lot of the things that maybe we hoped she could have done as far as feuds and matches and things of that nature. And her in ring really, I hate to say it this way, her in ring wasn't particularly as up to par for the AEW standard at the time compared to what may be a little more her speed. And don't get me wrong, WWE stepped up as well. But I think it's not as maybe as intensive in some ways with some people. And I think that may be a better fit. Because she was really, you got to remember, there's the gap of time that she wasn't competing. So it's not even that she has never been good or wasn't good. It's just like there's a significant gap of time that she didn't compete where, not to say that the business passed her by or that, the style and all of that became too intense for her. It just, again, it's just that adjustment period. Um, and perhaps um, similar news or related news, it is a it is questionable that Nikki Bella will actually be able to perform tonight. Apparently, Nikki was injured in a match a couple of weeks ago. I actually saw that, or heard about it, read about it. Um, and she had an ankle injury. She's still shooting to be there tonight, but there's a good chance that she may not make it, which is wild because she's the wrestler of the two. Um, so the rumor mill is saying that there's a good chance, and you need a WrestleMania surprise, so that would be a good one. There's a good chance that in the place of Nikki Bella would be Paige, and that would be huge. They wouldn't win, I don't think. However, if you did that, you know what though, they've pulled that card like 2 or 3 times now though. They did it last year with Becky and Lyra. Like, oh, I got Bailey's out, but I got a new partner, and then they win the title. So maybe they wouldn't do that again, but um, we'll see. So that's an interesting thing as well on that. Um, so Paige is back. Like I said, there's that. She could be that. So we'll see where that goes. That'll be tonight because that match is a night one match as well. Most of the women's matches, except for Rhea and Jade, are tonight. AJ Becky's tonight. Stephanie Vaquer, Liv Morgan is tonight, and the women's tag is tonight. And Jade Rhea is tomorrow night. There is no United States Women's United States Championship match. Last night on SmackDown, there was a match between Jordan Grace and Tiffany Stratton to determine the number one contender, but that match was not made for Mania, which is very interesting, but whatever. Um, so that that's that's a thing. Speaking of, let's get into a little bit of the last minute happenings as far as on TV. Did I watch? I don't think I watched all of Raw, but I watched a good amount of it. I definitely think I watched a good amount because I was at home. So yeah, I definitely No, I didn't see all, but I saw a good enough bit. Um, they had the contract signings with Obafemi, Brock Lesnar. I didn't see the Brock Lesnar part. I did see the Obafemi segment where he cuts a really strong promo that everybody seems very shocked that he could cut. And it's like that thing, like, wait, it's almost like, where did these promos come from? And I'm like, I could. It wasn't shocking to me. Like, I didn't watch him a lot in NXT, but I've seen enough to know like he can cut a promo though. You know, in that way that So there's that. Um, Charlotte versus Lyra, did not see that. MFT show up in didn't see any of that. Didn't see any of that. Didn't see any of that. None of that matters. Okay, so I came in at a promo between Seth Rollins and Gunther, basically them hyping the matchup for why Gunther says it's personal. It basically breaks down to people think you're the best, and if people think you're the best, that offends me, and that's why it's personal. And that's all you really need. It's wrestling. That's all you need. Don't overcomplicate it. So they did a pull apart brawl, of course. That's always a thing. Actually, it wasn't even a pull apart. They just brawled. But I guess there had to be some yeah. So Dom is basically talking about, he didn't sign to face the demon because for some reason we have to do the demon, and I don't know why we are announcing that we're doing the demon, but whatever, we're doing the demon. Demon versus Dom, that's the thing. Io Sky Kyrie was one of those things where they just had to try to pile a bunch of people into a segment because you had Kyrie and Io, and then Asuka kept getting involved, which brought out Rhea, which then brought out Jade. Um, Jade lays out Rhea. Asuka helps Kyrie win. Everything is everything. So I don't think all of that plays into their match, the Jade Rhea match. And there's nothing for Io, Kyrie, or Asuka for Mania, which there could have been, but there's not. And I'm big on, like, you have to say some stuff for like the SmackDown before and maybe even the Raw after. Raw after, not so much. Raw after should be like surprise. Well, I don't say should be, but typically is like the surprises, the big surprises. If Paige doesn't show up at Mania, she's definitely gonna show up probably the night after. But we'll see. Um, Next week, like I said, we had the Oval segment. I caught that. Great, great promo. Um, One job WWE, but I'll get to that in a minute. We had a tag match: Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, Rusev, Jaden McDonough. Javon Evans and Dragon Lee get the dub, but Rusev is the one that stands tall. Basically, took everybody out to make it look like he actually stands a chance of winning this match, and he's not there to just be the base for everybody else that's in this match because they don't really give a damn about Rusev, but they hadn't done anything with him since he's been back. But that's neither here nor there. Good on Rusev. At least they show that you matter on this road to WrestleMania, even though they can't explain how you got in the match. You matter. So go figure. Um, and then we go, man, there was not a lot of wrestling on this show. They said it was 35 minutes out of a 3-hour show. Um, and that makes sense. Basically, the closing segment was Roman was in the ring. CM Punk comes out. And after everything that's happened, after CM Punk drops his pipe bomb last week, where he lays out all kinds of things, now he comes out through the crowd very somberly, very respectfully, and he's basically saying, I hate you because I envy you. You have everything I've ever wanted. It was handed to you. I had to I had to fight my way to this point, and I hate that you've had all these WrestleMania main events and I've only had that. This is my first time as a champion going in. I hate that you had to work so hard to be so great and all these things. And I talked about your father, and he's a great man. He's a great wrestler. You know how I respect the old timers, and I hate that I have brought your father's name into this, and I apologize. And then Roman says, it's the truest thing too. That was true. And I hate you too because I hate how these people love you so much and the connection you have and that they chanted your name. And on Sunday, I'm going to take your title. And that was it. That's the promo. And it was decent enough promo, but that's how we're closing it. Just I respect you, Booker man. I respect you too. You have a good ass day. No, you have a good ass day. That's how. Oh, okay, all right. You know how I feel about Punk, so let's go figure. And that was Raw. That was it. SmackDown. SmackDown for Mania has kind of become like the, the pre-show for Mania, basically. A lot of times they'll put things on SmackDown, which it could be even bigger if they would do it. But it's also like they're trying to sell it for the last time rather than have. But they really could just make the SmackDown like not even quote unquote night one, but like the pre-show. And there are a lot of things that you could throw on there that should be on Mania but aren't. And that's not, like they've done with the Andre, the Dre, as the New Day called it. Man, we need to get the New Day pod back, but it's neither here nor there. They're not doing nothing else. Why can't we do Biggie in wrestling? Kofi is hurt. I mean, Xavier is hurt. I mean, I know they're not the new whatever. Anyway, um, we have a promo from Randy Orton basically saying he's going to win the title. He doesn't need Cody. I mean, he doesn't need Pat McAfee, but he wants him because Pat McAfee is the only one who's kept it real with him. Cody doesn't do anything but take, and listed all the times that he's stuck up for Cody, and um, now Cody has never basically done anything for him. This is the kind of thing that you could have just done. The Pat McAfee angle was not needed at all. There's so much history that they could have pulled. They could have easily crafted this without Pat McAfee. And I know it's probably not Triple H's decision or whoever. It's probably TKO, like we kind of been saying. But we didn't need Jelly Roll. We didn't even need this. I mean, the heel turn was cool, I guess, and there, even though it kind of keeps the pattern of what Cody goes through Mania as a babyface, has been for the last 3 years basically. Uh, but I mean, whatever, right? So we didn't have to do any, like it could have been, you know, we're going in friendly enough. We're referencing the history, the legacy history, the teacher mentor thing, however you want to look at it, and then going into, you know, the things that Randy was talking about last night about how I've done all these things to be that, but what have you done for me? It could have been so simple. It was easy. It was there. And like a lot of people have said, it's one of the things that, like, even if you didn't want that match per se, you have to acknowledge, like, but there again, as somebody who loves long term storytelling and callbacks and things of that nature, like this absolutely had all the makings. They haven't even referenced anything about the legacy aspect of things, not legacy like Randy Orton's legacy, but the group legacy that they were in, and all that kind of history. None of that came up. It's just, oh, we've just been friends for so long, and that's it. And like, there's so much history that we could pull from, and we didn't need Pat McAfee or any of that. We had the Wyatt Six versus the MFTs. I guess they had their blow off there, which the MFTs won. So there's that promo with Drew and with not Drew, with Jacob Fatu. We had a tag team championship match. R-Truth and Damian Priest, who are on SmackDown, took on the New Day, which is Kofi Kingston and Grayson Waller. Is Grayson Waller actually in the New Day? I know he's been hanging around. I'm like, but he actually in? That's a strange thing. Of course, but they're on Raw. They are on Raw, challenging for the SmackDown Tag Team title. So it's WrestleMania season, so who cares, right? Doesn't matter. Um, Truth and Priest retain. Sorry, had a brain fart there. Um, had another promo with Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, trying to sell it one more time before Sunday. If you don't buy it by now, you're not gonna buy it. It's kind of one of the things like let's just get through it. I don't really care who wins. Let's just get through it. Then of course we had Tiffany Stratton, Jordan Grace. Like I said, United States Women's United States Championship #1 contender match. Man, these things are so long. Tiffany Stratton, of course, gets the win, which was kind of the direction I think we thought we were always going. At least for Mania, that was going to be Julia and Tiffany Stratton. So that was interesting. We had a very interesting promo between Trick Williams and Sami Zayn, with Trick Williams is mad because Sami Zayn knocked out Lil Yachty. It's like, not only did you mess with Lil Yachty, you messed up my WrestleMania entrance with Lil Yachty. And I'm mad about it. Let's talk about it. So he said, come on, Sami Zayn, bring your ass out to the ring. And out comes a gingerbread man. Hilarious. And then Sammy comes out. And he's mad. And he's telling Trick, you got all the other things. You got the gift of gab and all the other things, but can you hang in the ring? And then ultimately, if you know wrestling, the positioning was always there. Sammy eventually hits the gingerbread man with a haluva kick before Trick comes in and hit him with a trick shot. So I'm not sure. I actually think I'll get to my predictions there. But I have been saying, and there have been the rumors, and I kind of have been seeing people say it, but I think I might have had this inkling before I even saw the rumors. There's a double turn afoot, right? Like Krauseman is kind of turning on Sammy a little bit, and just storyline wise, it kind of just made sense for some of the things that they've been telling him. And again, his actions have been slightly heelish here and there. And of course, there's all the talk about Trick being a baby face and all of that. And I was like, there's a double turn coming. They're probably gonna do that. They're gonna try to do a double turn at Mania. Have Sammy win some kind of way that causes people to boo him. People are already kind of cheering for Trick. That'll endear them more to Trick. And then that'll be that. Well, let me tell you, the double turn has happened. It's already there. The crowd is already firmly behind Trick, and they are already firmly booing Sammy. And we're there. If you were trying to do it in Mania, it's done. It's already done. There is no turning then. They have turned. So there's that. We had another tag match, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte versus Bayley and Lyra. The Bellas have not been seen anymore. Since Nikki got hurt, the Bellas have not been seen anymore in this feud, in these feuds, or this feud. So go figure. Match didn't start. Nia and Lash come out and crush everybody, stand tall. So there's that. And then next up we had the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Again, I kind of figured that when I saw who was in it, the last couple, like Royce Keys, sometimes with these, you kind of got to look at the field, and whoever's in the field kind of bases your idea on who's going to win. And who also got like an entrance sometimes. So there have been some surprises here and there, because now it doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's a good accolade to have, but it doesn't mean anything, doesn't lead to anything. There's no stakes, there's nothing that comes, there's no reward but the trophy. And the trophy doesn't get seen again, and it doesn't get mentioned. But it's a good thing to kind of hang on So like when they gave it to Baron Corbin at 32, he was like the first person that was kind of like a surprise. And Claudio, no, I'm sorry. Well, he was Cesaro then. Cesaro won the first one. Kind of a surprise. Nothing necessarily came of it. Big Show eventually, I think, won maybe the next one. 32 was Baron Corbin. That was the first time they used it to bring somebody up to main roster and kind of give them that rub. And then after that, it's just been just kind of random people here and there that kind of fit. But it hadn't meant anything, hadn't done anything. So I'm looking at the field. I'll read them off. Is Royce Keys. He got an entrance. Um, Joe Hendry got the quote unquote got the last entrance. So those were the only two that actually got an entrance. Were Royce Keys and Joe Hendry, if I'm not mistaken. Then you had Matt Cardona. A lot of people who are involved in stuff and left off the Mania card. Let's go with that. Royce Keys, who just debuted on SmackDown last week. Matt Cardona, who's been involved in the Randy Orton stuff and kind of here and there, but has not been winning necessarily. Psycho Clown from AAA. Kit Wilson, who's been involved in a lot of stuff, like especially with Danhausen. Joe Hendry, of course, from NXT. I don't think that's meant to bring him up, though. Ray Phoenix, who has nothing for Mania. El Grande Americano. Were both Americanos in there? Yeah, both Americanos were in. That match is not happening at Mania. It actually will happen at AAA, which will be Mask versus Mask. And I'm not even sure that's... They got that kind of Bret Hart dynamic where he's like a heel in... Where one's a heel in America and the other one's the heel in Mexico. So that's kind of a thing. So they're going to do that match in AAA instead of at Mania. Angel and Berto, who have nothing going on. Apollo Crews, they just brought him out for nothing. Go figure. Johnny Gargano, who still depressed and was basically planked in the ring, which is hilarious actually. La Parka, again from AAA. Shinsuke Nakamura, because why not? Shiloh Hill from NXT. Otis, Akira Tozawa, who of course didn't have anything going on because they don't have anything going on. Aleister Black, who does not have a Mania match. Shocking. Fraxium, again, no Mania match. Motor City Machine Gun, no Mania match. Still no Mania match. Have they had a Mania match at all? And they've been there for what, 2-3 years now? Go figure. Ilya Dragunov. Tyler Tonga, who was also in the MFT match earlier. Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde don't have anything because they don't have anybody to attach to. Why is Ilya not on WrestleMania? Where is Carmelo? Carmelo not even on the Friday before? Okay. Royce Keys wins the Dre. Good for him. Good shout on him. Not even gonna lie. And then we have our closing promo, because that's how we close for Manias these days. It's closing promos. And Cody Rhodes is out and he's just basically talking. And before he can finish, out comes CM Punk in a suit. Now, it makes sense why he's in a suit. Hall of Fame is after this. He's already dressed. No need in getting, whatever. And they sit out there and they basically circle jerk each other because they said, oh, thank you. You have a good suit. Oh, you have a good suit. Oh, you're going to handle this. You're my friend. You're my friend. It was just a really complimentary promo between both champions that I don't even know what it was supposed to do. They're just friends. And then they hugged it out. Cody almost cried. Yay. I don't know. I don't know what's supposed to happen here. I don't know what's supposed to be happening here. But that's what we got. This Mania build is interesting. It's been very interesting. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to... again, I said this yesterday. The build has been The matches are kind of meh to me. There's not a lot that I really am looking forward to or care to see. And I know they've been working around a lot of the injuries. Some of the booking has still been kind of baffling. And the build has been a little strange. Some of the matches that are there, but we couldn't squeeze in this thing. All the matches kind of make sense. I won't say that. But it's just, there are other things that we could have done that we're not. So, a lot of ways we could have squared some people onto this show that we chose not to. But it's fine. So let's go predictions. Oh, sorry, didn't even finish my thought. So there are things that we, the build has been mad. The matches are kind of okay, cool. But at the end of the day, it's WrestleMania, and even though I don't rock with this company for a lot of reasons, and I probably will feel that much stronger if that orange motherfucker shows up on my screen that I'm watching on tonight or tomorrow. Even though I won't be shocked because I know how this company gets down. But even with that being said, it is wrestling, and I have been a wrestling fan. I've not just been an AEW fan. I've not been a WCW fan. I've not just been a WWE or WWF fan. I have been a wrestling fan my entire life. And some things don't turn off. So for all I don't watch the weekly product as much. I'll tune if I need to see something, especially considering like leading up to Mania weekend because it's Mania. If I need to see something, I will tune in. I'll catch the YouTube clips. Like I said, I very rarely will tune in to Netflix. I don't even have a way to watch SmackDown or NXT for that matter. So I'll tune in. If I need to I try to keep up with what's going on, especially for the people that I care about. But I don't really rock with WWE the way I used to for a lot of different reasons. That being said, um, but it's WrestleMania. And it is and has been the wrestling Super Bowl for 42 years at this point. Maybe not that, but definitely longer now than it has not been. Um, I've been to three and been in the vicinity for four, and can't say that I mean, prices are ridiculous, but if prices ever go back to like a normal thing, can't say that I won't attend another one necessarily. It's a great time, and it's not great for the sake of the show. It's great to be in the midst of so many wrestling fans, right? It's great to be around so many people. Wrestling fan, being in community with wrestling fans is a great thing, right? And I hope to be in community with some of you this weekend because I discovered here in Memphis, and I mentioned this yesterday, but I mentioned it a little earlier. Now here in Memphis, I've discovered that the Paradiso movie theater is on Mendenhall. I said it was on Popular, and it kind of is on Popular, but it's officially listed on Mendenhall. The Paradiso movie theater is showing WrestleMania both night one and night two, starting at 5 o'clock. So if you don't have anywhere to watch, go to malco.com, get your tickets, or just show up. I'm pretty sure night one so far looks to be, when I looked at it when I bought my tickets, night one had already sold more tickets, it looked like. Night two may some people may not even rock with night one, night two, who knows? So but get your tickets, show up, be in community. I've already seen a lot of people saying that they planned on going, they were going to get some tickets. I think I have influenced a few people to go. And like I said, if you see me there tonight, I'll probably have on what you see right now. So if you see me there, come holler at your boy, especially if you subscribe. Don't holler at me if you haven't subscribed. I said that yesterday. Subscribe first, then come speak. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button to do that. But I hope to see you guys tonight. Again, I love being around wrestling fans. And then being in the theater, sometimes it's just like being at the show. Um, I've seen a lot of AEW pay-per-views in the theater for a while. Um, I don't know if I've seen a WWE one before. I feel like maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But we're gonna do it tonight. We're gonna do it tonight. We're gonna do it tomorrow. So that being said, let's get into these predictions so we can get on out of here. I got things I gotta do. I got things I got to do. Let's talk about it. We're opening up night one. And I don't know the middle order, but I know the first two matches in the main event for both nights because they've announced that much. Because the first two matches of both nights are going to be on ESPN2 and ESPN. So that much I can give. So we got the Vision, Logan Paul and Austin Theory, and I Show Speed with Paul Heyman taking on the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, and LA Knight. And as if we didn't have enough celebrity involvement, and you know what I'm going to do? Because I said this the last time. I said this yesterday when I talked about my predictions that I needed to keep up with who I predicted. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a spreadsheet. Is it unlike? Oh, whatever. Oh, whatever. Okay, fine. You won't let me do it. More than one way to skin a cat. So I am going to make notes so I can keep up with my picks. So I don't ever do that. So night one we have Vision, Logan Paul, Austin Theory taking on I Show Speed taking on the Usos that night. And as if we didn't have enough celebrity involvement, now there's the Cameron thing. And Cameron even truthfully isn't even a big enough celebrity to compared to anybody else in this match, if we're being real. He just got a podcast. And don't get me wrong, we know him in the rap community, in the hip hop community, we know who Cameron is. But nobody else will. I'm just being real. But he might show up and interfere. You know what? I think I'm gonna get this team. I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna go with the Vision. I'm gonna go with the Vision. Um, Logan Paul is the big. Logan Paul is a. Because here's the thing. There's logic. I think I talked about this yesterday as well. There's like booking logic that makes sense, and then there's um, like go home math. With WWE, there's also like corporate booking. I think it's a good word to use that. That things are going to certain decisions will be made because of other things that have nothing to do with the actual story booking or the actual benefit to the storyline itself. Um, I don't think it matters one way or another who wins this match, if we're being honest, when we're talking about going forward. And the Vision are the tag team champions. Or not, yeah, they're tag champions. So, I mean, it's there for the Usos and LA Knight to probably win. That probably would make the most sense. We've introduced this Cameron thing. Um, and I think that becomes kind of a hinge thing. He might not have a big deal to do with it, but he will probably be enough to cause I Show Speed or Logan to get a win here. So that's why I'm gonna say the Vision takes the dub at Mania. Yeah. LA Knight kind of needs a win because he loses a lot at Mania, but okay. I'm going with the Vision. It's the opening match. You got Logan Paul in there. You got I Show Speed, who's one of the biggest YouTubers. And it's the opening thing. It's going to be the first thing you see on ESPN. And the way they've been covering Mania this week, that's definitely going to be something that they will want to cover. You know, and when you get Cameron in there, you know, then you're going to get on the hip hop blogs probably. So definitely can see that being a thing. Kind of strange that you wouldn't open up with a babyface win like that. Because I would have to do some research. I feel like I want to know how many manias have opened up with a heel win that way. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Next up, we have Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre in an unsanctioned match. I'm going to go Jacob Fatu. That's not even, to me, that's not a hard decision. I think it should be Jacob Fatu. Um, he needs another Mania dub. Drew is fine. Yeah, Drew will be fine. Drew will be fine. Next up, Stephanie McCurry, Liv Morgan for the World Championship, Women's World Championship. Hmm. Hmm. How long has Stephanie been champ? Since Naomi went out, which was after SummerSlam. Okay. Um, let's say I'm gonna go with Stephanie because I think Liv has had a lot, and we don't necessarily need to see her back in that position. It's good for her to win the Rumble, another accolade. I think her winning the Rumble would mean more than her winning the title because she's already had the title in a very significant run, actually, as champion. So, yeah, let's keep that there. Next up, we have AJ Lee, Becky Lynch for the women's Intercontinental title. Mm. I actually want to see AJ Lee keep that. So I'm going to go AJ Lee there as well. Because I think Becky, again, Becky's had it like 2 times, maybe even 3. And she's been tied in that title for over a year now. We can probably move Becky to like a Stephanie McCur feud, which she doesn't need that either. But I don't think she's been in the heel space for that title yet. So she'll be a good challenger for Stephanie going forward. And AJ can drop it to somebody else and we can move forward that way. Becky's been tied up with that title for over a year or almost a year now. It's elevated. She's elevated it to probably damn near more of a top title than the world championship, especially with Stephanie having it, just because Stephanie isn't as established as Becky. So let's go. I was keeping AJ Lee. My logic there, AJ Lee can drop it to somebody else, finish out the Becky feud. Um, Becky doesn't, and I don't know if Becky cares about getting her wins back like that. She hadn't beat AJ. She hadn't really topped AJ at all. Um, but I think, yeah, that's my pick. I could be wrong. We'll see. Next, we have the women's tag fatal 4-way irresistible forces: Nia Jackson, Lash Legend versus Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss versus Bayley and Lyra versus the Bellas. Perhaps because we don't know about Nikki. Um, it does very much seem like Nikki will not be there, and that they will do Paige for the return if she's not. If Nikki isn't able to compete, I do think they'll go with Paige for the return. I still don't think any of that matters. We've done like the return and then they win the titles last year. And it wouldn't make sense. I don't think, I mean, Paige having the title would be cool. Paige and Brie would be an interesting thing, but it would be more for the Bellas to win it than like a substitute, which sucks, but it's what it is. So if they were going to win it, it would be after Nikki comes back, I think. Lyra won it last year with Becky, but it was supposed to be Lyra and Bayley. Charlotte and Alexa just had it. I think the booking favorites were Bayley and Lyra, so I'm going to go with the booking favorites. Next up, we have Seth Rollins versus Gunther, and I am easily going Gunther on this one. Unfortunately, Seth is back. Um, Gunther, I think, is on a path to something else, and I think Seth is fine. Yeah, so that's the easy one there. And then we have Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. If Randy Orton loses, Pat McAfee will leave the wrestling industry for good. Now, I do not necessarily believe that is where we are going, so I'm going to say for the second year in a row. But Randy Orton, there's a rumor, is injured and will need surgery. So I've heard. So that being said, nope, still standing with it because I think the Pat McAfee thing. Here's the thing: if they thought to throw you in that, that's not a write off. They are definitely going to keep him around just because. So I can see Randy getting the dub there. Let's go night 2. Opening night 2 is my main event. Oba Femi. I can just write it. Oba Femi taking on Brock Lesnar. Give me a second to write this down because I'm very adamant, very clear. WWE, you got one job. One job. One thing that you need to do tonight. It's not tonight. It's tomorrow night. But you got one job. You got one thing that you need to do. And I don't give a damn about ESPN. I don't give a damn about TKO. I don't give a damn about Carlos Silva. I don't know what he has to do with this, but I don't give a damn about him either. You have one job. And that is to put over Darula. I don't want any of your shenanigans. I don't want to hear any of your reasonings about how Oba looks good in a defeat, how he looks good in the loss, how he dominated the beast and he just made one rookie mistake. No, 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 no. Because if you're making a monster, if you're making a new star, then you have to have him win. And ideally, the faster the better. Do it. Don't be no bitch. One job. One job. Moving on. Next, we have the 6-pack ladder match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. You know, the choices here would be between Penta and Javon because I don't think anybody else even remotely matters. Rey Mysterio's had the Intercontinental Championship. He doesn't need it. Rusev, JD McDonough, yeah. Dragon Lee isn't really there. Penta or Javon, I think, are the two favorites here. And I'm going to go with Penta retaining. Javon will have a WrestleMania moment doing something wild, but he won't win just yet. He will win it eventually, but he's not there yet. I can see him winning before the year's out, but I don't think it's going to be tomorrow night. Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley, the match that whatever. Jade is 2-0 at Mania. And I don't know if I see Rhea switching over to SmackDown if she wins that title. Has she ever been on SmackDown though? I don't think so. Give it to Jade. Let's give it to Jade. We're gonna go with Jade in that one for the retain. Again, Rhea hadn't exactly held that title, but she's held the Raw title, which is that title is actually a spinoff of the Raw Women's Championship. In the way the legacy of it, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. That title is the legacy of the Raw title. And Rhea's held that. She hadn't held that belt, but I don't see Jade. I think they're gonna ride with Jade for a little while longer. I don't think Rhea's the one. Next up, we have Sami Zayn and Trick Williams. Listen, the easy thing here is Trick. Trick is super over. Trick is you know, big star, and putting the title on him, strapping him up right off the bat, could be a very big thing that you could do going forward. However, and don't get me wrong, we already got kind of Sammy in the heel role. There's not a lot you got to do. The thing that people are kind of saying should happen with Oba and Brock is what I think could happen with Trick and Sammy. That Trick, especially given what Sammy's promo was on SmackDown. Sammy's promo was about, you have all the flash, but can you hang in the ring? You just seem like another kind of overrated rookie. And I think in the heel fashion, the booking here should, if it were me, even though, yes, you want to crown Trick, and it is his WrestleMania moment, you get Trick a fire entrance. You have Trick take Sammy to the limit to where Sammy has to do something to cheat to win, which proves him wrong, proves Trick can hang, but solidifies Sammy more in the heel reign. But it proves like, yo, you talk that shit, but I can hang. I took you to the limit, and I made you had to cheat to beat me. So double turn solidified. Sammy's firmly a heel. Trick, bigger buzz, because one thing that will make fans get behind somebody more is when they find out the person that they wanted to win didn't win. Will absolutely do that. So absolutely believe that is the move for that. So my pick there is absolutely Sami Zayn because of how I would book it. And I could be wrong. I wouldn't be mad if it's Trick, but I do think there's an interesting story that it could be told there if you do it the other way around. And Trick could win it eventually. Him winning at Backlash. Because I don't think the Mania moment for him is actually winning. I was the only one who needs to, of the three people who we're looking at need to, Oba, Javon, and Trick, Oba's the only one that has to go over one job. Javon winning would be cool. Trick winning would be great, but I think storyline wise, it makes more sense for it to be Sammy. But he cheats to win. So next up, we have Demon versus Dom, and we don't have to think about this at all. They're not bringing back the Demon to lose to Dominic Mysterio. And next up, we have the main event, CM Punk taking on Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I believe that the booking favorites have been saying that it's Roman Reigns, but I'm going to go with CM Punk. Because I don't think that Roman winning this title, even though he'll be by himself and no bloodline, no wise man, no nothing, but Roman winning this title and then disappearing, because that's what's going to happen, will be no good for business. He barely was there for the build, so he's definitely not going to be there as champion. Highly doubt that being a thing. Again, I could be wrong. Roman has lost the last two WrestleManias. He lost on night 2 of 40. He lost at night 1 of 41. Will he go 3 in a row? Three L's in a row after winning, but he had won again up to that point. Night 2 of 40, 39, 38, 37. He wasn't at 36. Won at 35. Prior to that, he hadn't lost since 34. And the only reason he wasn't at 36 because it was COVID year. So will he go down 3 in a row? Put Punk over in his first WrestleMania main event? Probably. I think it makes more sense to have Punk as a champion. And some of the things that Roman is saying are a little too I guess negative to kind of let sit. So it kind of makes sense. I think Punk goes over. So there you have my pace. And I kept up with him this time. So when we meet back here next week, we'll meet back here. And if you're new here, if you're not new here, this is a big one. Because I wrote them down. So I don't know what we're gonna do with that. But let's rock. We're gonna rock with that. So those are my predictions for Mania. It's WrestleMania. And as a wrestling fan, how can you not be excited about WrestleMania? So go figure. It's gonna be a great time. I'm looking forward to it. Again, I'll be at the Paradiso Theater tonight and tomorrow. I think my seat is like H12 or something, if I'm not mistaken. So hey, you come through see me, I'll let your boy. But subscribe first. Don't holler at me if you haven't subscribed. I'm gonna ask. You subscribe to the pod? No? Go subscribe to the pod. Then I'll say what's up. Let's do that. So again, it's WrestleMania weekend, night one. This is day 2 of the WrestleMania weekend podcast, extravaganza, bonanza. Yeah. So I've said enough tonight. Be safe. Enjoy the show. If that orange son of a bitch shows up on your TV screen, boo him. Boo him, I said. Because I'm going to boo. I'm going to boo loudly. In the theater. Boo this man. Loudly. In the theater. Get your WrestleMania snacks. Get your WrestleMania drinks. Get all the things. Do the things. Get prepared because it is going to be a time, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to have me a big bucket of popcorn. I'm going to have me a big ass drink, probably. And who knows? So, come through if you can. If you're watching at home, I hope you enjoy. If you're there live, you rich son of a bitch, have a great time. And if you're in the arena, especially boo him if he's in the arena. If you're in the arena, boo him loudly. But I've said enough. I've done enough. I got to get out of here. I got things I got to do. I got some hot wings calling my name. So, without further ado, as I always say, again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe before I get out here. Make sure I say that. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe. Make sure you do all the things because we want to tune in next week to see if I was right or wrong. And we're going to talk about it because I'm sure it's going to be a lot to talk about. So, and then there's going to be like a dynamite in between. I might not even wait till next week because there's a lot happening. So, until next time, we are out.